Okay, so in this episode, we're gonna try to find an algorithm so that it can return the greatest common divisor of two numbers that we put in. So in here we have the uh, uh, find GCD function, but let me modify it a little bit before we get in. So return max divisor. So in this episode, we want to find an algorithm that gonna return the greatest common divisor number that we put in. For example, in the case of 45 and 30, then we should return that the greatest common divisor is actually 15, right? Because that's the greatest common divisor uh, that we are that is the greatest common divisor of 45 and 30. So, but for the case of for example, with an extreme case of 0 and 30, so the greatest common divisor is 30 itself, right? Is 30 itself. So we should expect it to return 30. And then for the other cases, for example, we let's have an arbitrary case of 0 and 0. So of 0 and 0. So what we should expect to receive is infinity, right? And let's try another common case, right? So for example, 100 and 120 and 360. So the greatest common divisor in this case is 120. So that's what we expect. So let's run the test. So invalid scene type. So what's wrong there? Okay, so here we like a least common divisor. Okay, divisor now is div. Okay, so 120 and 30. The greatest common divisor is 30 in the case of 30, infinity, 15, and 120, just as we expected. Okay, so in this case, let's come in and we're gonna explain the algorithms. Okay, so to find the greatest common divisor of two numbers, first of all, let's consider the case of both numbers as 0. And then, like any number at all can be the common divisor, right? Because 0 and 0, 0 divide everything. So the divisor just go up, 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 and up, right? So eventually, the greatest common divisor has to be infinity because, well, 0 divided by everything bigger than it. Okay, well, okay, the second case is that if one number is 0 and the other is not the 0, so obviously the other positive number has to be the greatest common divisor because it's the biggest divisor itself, right? So in that case, whenever a number is different from 0 and the other number has to be 0, we're gonna return the number that is different from 0. Okay? Okay. So if one number is 0, we're gonna return the other number, given that the other number is not 0 as well. Okay? Yeah. All right. So that's for case number 2 and case number 3. For the general case, I mean in this case of numbers like 45 and 30 and 120 and 360, we're gonna keep dividing. We're gonna find the common divisors of A and B of those two numbers, and we're gonna put it into the list of common divisor, a least common div. So we initialize the common divisor list as an empty list, and we're gonna search for divisor of a divided by y, a modulus y is equal to 0, and in that list of divisor of a, in those elements we're gonna find what in those elements are actually divisor of b. Okay, so those intersection of two sets is actually the common divisor list, and we don't append so element to the common divisor list here. And to find the greatest common divisor, we're gonna return the max of that list. Okay, so let's run. So everything run as expected. The greatest common divisor of 40 and 30 is 50. For the case of 0 and 30, it returns 30. In the case of 15 and 0, it returns 15. So that's actually correct. And for the case of 0 and 0, it returns infinity. And for the case of 120 and 360, it returns 120. So that's the algorithms that you can find the greatest common divisor of two numbers. Thank you very much.